We don't believe in retirement. We believe in happiness.
Let's talk about that too, because that's a good thing as well. I was talking to Pops about, retirement
Yeah.
and stuff like that. How do you guys see retirement as an entrepreneur versus retirement as like what we've been taught or what we're used to seeing, 401k?
I see retirement as a bad reward.
What's up, world? Welcome back to the Tune In with Tony podcast, and I've got some powerhouse guests on the show today. And I always like to bring people that can give you an immense amount of value. And these guests are going to talk to you about how to stay in business by setting your financials up properly so that it's not just what's in your checking account and that you have layers around you of defense so that you're always prepared for what's going to happen. Because guess what? Change is inevitable. And these two guests, T. Anthony Money and My Love, are going to bring everything that you need to know to set up your business properly. My guy T. Anthony is 10 years in business, internet marketer, a business coach, and a branding expert. And my girl, who you guys are about to meet, Mila, is literally a healthcare entrepreneur, a mother of two. So she's going to be talking to all the women about how you guys need to be set up. So welcome to the show, my guests. I cannot wait to speak to you guys about what we're going to learn. So I like to get into the first question. Well, first, I'll let you say hey real quick.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on the show, Tony. Me, T. Anthony Money, and Mila Hall, we're really excited about being here with you today. So we're going to share a lot with you guys. Sit back, listen, get ready, and we're going to kick this off.
Got you. So before we kind of get into like your background, right?
Okay.
Can you guys talk about the pain point that you see that businesses are going through by not being set up right that just causes to fail so quick? And I say that because the people watching, a lot of us are operating out of what? Just the checking account, the little bit of money we have to operate a business.
Absolutely. I think, it starts with your mindset. When you're going into, being an entrepreneur, we know that most people come from corporate America or they coming from the workforce. So the mindset is the first thing I think that most people should focus on. And when I say that, because, when you're building a business or you have an idea, you have a great idea, but you need some type of guidance or coach, to help you not only formulate it, but to build the foundation and also make sure that you have certain things in place, just in case that bumpy road come and you don't know what to do. My experience with some entrepreneurs, I've been a business coach for the last 10 years, is that a lot of people have the shiny ball syndrome. That means that they see this beautiful couch, they see this pretty desk, and they see these, pretty murals on the wall. But the thing that they don't understand is you have to start from somewhere, right? That means you're starting from the bottom. So I would suggest that, once you got everything in place and you got the money, let's say you get $100,000 in your first funding, you need to take at least $25,000 and put that aside for your marketing and your branding. And the reason that I say that, because if you have the right marketing and branding that's going to bring the people into your new infrastructure, it's going to make you more money.
Yeah.
And you can buy the pretty couch, the pretty desk and stuff later.
Yeah.
But right now you're at ground zero. So let's operate the business and make sure that we're spending stuff correctly so that when that bumpy road come, you don't have a major problem.
Yeah. And Mila, for you being just a mindset coach as well, how do you jump in or tap into that when you think about people's mindset being like incorrect? Because like he said, the first thing that we want to do is we want to look the part, right? But we're not set up right, So I guess my question was just like, what's your take on just seeing people with the wrong mindset, which leads them to having that business failure?
Well, you want to do something and, you got to give shout outs to someone and just get started. You do have to get started. However, you got to circle back around and structure your stuff. And if you don't have anybody to walk you through those steps, you don't know when you give up really easily.
Got you. And I think one of the hardest things too when it comes to business is structure. And we all know that we need it, right? But what I'm going to ask you guys is just like some limiting beliefs that I know our audience has. The first one is they're going to say, I don't have enough money to get set up right.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people don't have the money, but again, through the coaching and through the mentorship, we'll tell you and give you avenues on how to go get the money. And the first thing you want to start with is your finances and your personal credit. Mm-hmm. A lot of people start businesses and they have, these gurus and different people tell them, hey, you can start your business credit with bad credit.
No docs, all types of stuff, right?
It's just a marketing gimmick to get you in some type of course and class, and not to hate on their hustle, but we want people to get value of what we're doing. And if you work on your personal credit, it's going to be easier avenue for you to get business credit. I'm gonna give you an example. Like when I first started working on my personal credit, because I had bad credit before too, and then when I got that score to like a 727, I was able to go get an American Express Platinum card in my business name, and that led for me to get 5 more American Express in one day.
Yeah.
Because when you do American Express, they give you 1 inquiry on your credit, but you can get up to 5 cards. And a lot of people don't know that secret, right? So I got 5 cards and I went from having $0, not even no money in the bank when I first started my business, to now having over $250,000 in credit.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And so now, just because I had a 727 credit score, I was able to acquire money that quick, start the business credit profile with the DUNS number and everything. And now, guess what? When it's time to go get a loan, it's easier for me to get that 100,000 than it would be for you.
Got you. So, and either one of you guys can answer this question. Let's just talk about like credit repair, right?
Wait a minute. I want to say one thing.
Okay.
The money is not on you, it's in you. So that's where the mindset come from. They do have the money. We pop bottles. We do all type of stuff. We have the money to go spend. You spend $200 wasteful,
Exactly.
and you spend $200 towards your business, or it's an investment. They have the money. It's just we don't see it making us money until the IRS say you owe us $1 million and you didn't spend the money, but you had it because it's showing on paper you made $1 million.
Yeah.
So they got the money, so it's in you, and it's the mindset of saying, I got to figure out how to get this money.
I like that you said that too, because a lot of times it's all about how you reorganize and restructure things, right? It's just like us saying that we don't have time to do the things that we need to. Everyone else that's successful has the same amount of time that we had. It's just how to use it. So like you said, what I just took from what you said is not about what we can put in our head as a limited belief that I have to have 50,000 or I have to have this. It's more so the principle, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, setting up your structure doesn't mean that each account has to be big. Each account could technically have $100 in it, $200, $300. And then the goal is to keep growing that. So I can understand why you were saying it's the mindset, because like Mila just said, is like that same money that you pay, you probably spent $400 on the weekend kicking it. You know what I mean? You could take that same amount of money, set yourself up right. So let's talk about that. Now that we have the mindset, so many people are like credit repair, but that personal funding really is the foundation to all of this, right? I'm gonna let y'all chime in on why it is, because you know some people are like, I'm gonna get my business credit, my net 30s and stuff, right? Can you tell me a little bit about why that's the foundation?
I believe like the foundation is always going to start with that personal guarantee, which is your personal credit. And when it comes to business funding, the funding is based on, your credibility, which is your credit. So let's say you got a 580 credit score, which we know that you can get some funding with a 580 credit score. But what would those terms of payback look like at a 580 versus someone like one of us that's close to an 800 or above?
Not in your favor.
Exactly. So they may want you to pay like every day or pay some 2-week stuff, and then the interest rate is extremely high. So I believe if you're a new business owner, you don't need to acquire, that kind of debt that fast. But if you have to do it, I'm not going to tell you not to. But I say if you build the structure and foundation right in the beginning, you won't run into those problems.
I'm going to tell you guys about my situation because you guys are the experts.
Absolutely.
So me coming into business, what I had to go through was I'm the visionary, right? As the entrepreneur. And there would be times where I'm operating and then I'm like, I don't got any money. What do I do? So then I was like taking loans from Stripe, which would be like based on my revenue, then weekly and percentages per transaction. I did it when I was in e-commerce with Shopify, and I'm going to actually get to this story, but it was always like this money was so easy to grab, but I was set up incorrectly, right? It was like, the day the checking account ran out, I ran to these fast loans and I got it to one day. I looked up right before the pandemic and I had $10,000 a month in these crappy loans. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're talking to the audience about today, is how to be set up structurally right so that you're not doing that, because that's what they want you to do, right?
Absolutely.
They want you to run to the quick loans. Oh, we'll have it in your account when? Tomorrow? Just sign these papers. You see what I'm saying?
As soon as you get it paid off, it's almost like the payday loan. They call you right back and say, hey, I can get you approved. And they want you to pay $16,000 on a $12,000 loan. So
crazy.
Yeah, they call you right back. And like he said, if you need it and you know that you got a real plan in place, then get it. But structure yourself right.
Got you.
And so it's about the plan as well. So if you have to do something like that and like, okay, right now I've started this business, I got about $30,000 in cash. Credit is bad. The first thing I would say is at least take a little bit of that money, put it aside, and start working on your credit. Get with a professional, let them take you through the credit repair process. And even you can still start business at that point. So if you get that bad loan, you say, okay, here's my plan. I'm going to get this loan. This is the projection that I should make. I'm going to pay this stuff back. So in the next 6 months, my credit should be somewhere.
Well, what if I don't have the 30,000? Like, what if I'm just starting out? Like, I literally want to make a change in my life and I want to be relatable to some of the people watching. Where do I start? Like, is it the repair?
So what 580 credit score and you need some money?
I'm starting completely over. I want to change my structure of how my life is. I want to start a business, but I'm literally just at the bottom right now.
Go find the money for your credit repair.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's not
credit repair then.
I want you to find the money for that.
Okay.
Go find it.
You'll be able to do the same thing. Like, even if you don't have the money or you do have some money, the fact still stands is when you have a goal, you have to have a plan.
Right.
So if you don't have 30,000 and you say, hey, I'm only getting paid 800 a week from my job, then you know that either I need to take some money from this and start putting towards my credit, or I need to go to some friends and family and say, hey, I need to go to 10 people and get $200 so I can go ahead and get this done. Now, we'll do that for other stuff and borrow money from family, but we won't do it when we really in a need to move forward in our life.
Gotcha.
So we all got the money. There's no such thing as you don't have the money. Money is all around you.
It's not important enough to you. At that moment, it's just not important.
So let's talk about the credit repair, right? So if that's where somebody was to start, how long does it usually take before they can? We're talking about 580 people, right? Let's just be real. Let's say 620 and below.
Don't
right?
overpromise. We're not going to overpromise.
Okay.
Be willing to be on this program for anywhere from 4 to 8 months. Just we're not overpromising. And a lot of people like those gimmicks. Like I've had people come to me and say they're going to do everything in 30 days. They do something in 30 days and they come back and be like, all of this stuff came on my account. Well, they just probably froze your account, to be honest.
Gotcha.
And he get a lot of those people, but just not overpromising. And people love to be for somebody to sell them an overpromise.
Yeah, they do. They really do. So then once you get the credit repaired, now what's my next success step to move forward?
Now, once you get the credit repair, now we have to talk about structuring. We have to put certain accounts in place for you to get approved for anything. Just because you got a 700 credit score don't mean you're going to get an American Express.
And see, that's what people think. And that's another thing as well, where this is good, is people look at like, it's only about the score. They're not looking at the thickness of the profile.
It's the structure of your profile. So typically, and Mila probably can contest to this too, we usually tell people you need about 12 to 15 open accounts on your credit. You need less than 2 inquiries. And you need to have certain accounts on there that makes the lenders know that you're able to pay it. Right?
Well, what can those accounts be? Because someone watching may be like, they're thinking cars and this. What's just an easy way to get that?
It can be a mix of a lot of different things, and it needs to be a mix of a lot of different things. You can have anywhere from your regular trade lines, your personal trade lines, to even you can purchase trade lines.
Well, let's talk about that, because some people want to rush and just say, oh, I went on TradeLineSupply.com, bought a bunch of stuff, but you need to add those at the right time as well,
be
right?
Be ready, because they only stay on there for 60 days.
Got you. But you don't want to put it on top of a bad situation, right?
No.
Okay.
I had a client yesterday we talked to about that, and he was like, should I do a kickoff? And I'm like, you really don't need that. You just need 2 more trade lines, but be ready when they pop on, because they're going to only stay on for 60 days.
So what does be ready mean? And the reason why I ask that is I hear a lot of people say, like, you can go on the sweeps or the credit sprees to, like, when it's time to attack, we need to go and get funded, but we need to make sure we're prepared when we go on that sweep.
Well, when the time is ready, I think what we both would agree is that you got that coach and mentor in place, you got the business plan in place, you got the structuring of the business in place, and you are ready to go. You don't want to start, applying for stuff and you don't even have the formation and stuff set up.
Because that's not your money.
Yeah.
That stuff ain't your money. Most people get the money. We have a client that we just was dealing with that she got approved for like, I don't know, 150,000. And then she like, what do I do?
Right.
And he been coaching her through, because she realized I've been buying a whole bunch of baby clothes and all this other stuff. And he said, hey, that's not your money.
Yeah. I like that you said that too. The reason why is because when you said it's not your money, people forget. The reason why you're saying plan, you're saying not your money, they forget that it has to be paid back.
Absolutely.
So there has to be a plan in place, right?
So I feel like it's a couple things you need to do. So when you know that it's not your money, and let's say your business plan, you know you're not going to make a lot of money in the first year or two. What else are you doing outside of that to still bring other money in to make sure that when we get this money, we got the plan and we working, that you can still sustain yourself
Yeah.
through that I call it the grind process.
Yeah.
Right. So and when we say it's not your money, we're not saying that, you can't use it the way you want to, but remember, it's not money just to go take a trip with you and your hubby for Valentine's Day. It's not to be spent on frivolous stuff that you just buying. It's to actually be on that goal and that plan and using that money straight up and down and tracking it and making sure that it's going to the right places and that you're able to pay everything back on time to build your personal credit continuously and your business credit.
Got you. So so the audience understands that this isn't just about credit repair. We're talking about what does it mean to be bulletproof as an entrepreneur? Like, what are we truly protecting ourselves from? Because as us, as entrepreneurs, right?
Right.
Sometimes what we think is it's just how much money do I have? But that's never safe, because let's say you could be up today, but if you're still not protected, that money could easily be gone, right?
Absolutely.
So explain to the audience, what does that mean, and what are you guys teaching when you're like, I want you to be like bulletproof?
I heard her on the phone yesterday because we do a lot of calls while we driving and stuff like that, and she was telling the gentleman, and she said, you need to, she said, T. Anthony always talking about these 7 accounts that you need to have, especially when you first start out as an entrepreneur. And the reason that he has his clients do that is because as you're building, there's going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs, definitely. And you have to be protected in the fact that when it does go down, I can still sustain, I can still run my business, and I'm not going to go out of business. And so what that means is we all know you need a business checking account first, right? That's the first step, right? And I don't say just get one. I say you should open 3 up automatically.
Why 3?
Because you want to have, you don't want to just put all your eggs in one basket. Let's say we got a new business called Sayoko Leaf and Vine, where we're opening up a tea and wine lounge in Ohio, right? And we went to one bank, a local bank. We want to keep it local so we can do business with the community. But the minute we got in, they gave us so many problems about getting credit cards for the business and different stuff like that. And we already got platinum cards all over the place for different stuff. So what's the problem? So we had to switch over to a bigger bank. And the bigger bank just gave us whatever we asked for.
Gotcha.
So I think you should have different business banking accounts for different needs of your business, right? And then you also want to have a savings account. You want to have a high yield savings account. That means as you're making money, some of that money is going into the savings for future investments. We're not going to tell you to save no money just to be saving. What are you saving for? We want to make sure that you're saving for the what? Next big investment, right?
Expanding your portfolio.
And that the money is growing in that account, is not just sitting while the bank is taking your money and using it, right?
Right.
So you want a high yield savings account. You also want an investment account, a brokerage account. I always tell people, even though you don't know how to trade stocks and stuff, you need to have that account set up. So as you make money and once you start to diversify, now you can, actually have those accounts growing your money while it's sitting in there.
Gotcha.
Right? What about a healthcare savings account? We don't even think about our healthcare as entrepreneurs. But when we go to the hospital and we get that $26,000 bill and they charge you $10,000 just to get in the ambulance, you can't call your job.
Yeah.
You can't call the insurance company. So I think as business owners, you guys should think about that in the beginning, have that account and start saving towards your healthcare. And if you're going to have employees and stuff, it's just going to work out even better.
I love that she said that, just to cut in real quick.
Yeah.
It's because that's what this is all about. Like when I learned about you guys, when it comes to be Bulletproof Entrepreneur, like I said, most entrepreneurs only have their checking account, right?
Absolutely.
And we never factor in the rainy day. There's no health savings account in place. So what happens when you get in a car accident? What happens when a leg or something breaks, right?
It's all on you.
You're going to take care, or your kid, you're going to take care of yourself and your family, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be like business account. Now what happens to the business?
She teach that in her mindset training about.
That's what I want to hear, that mindset, like when it comes to that,
She actually teaches that, and she tell people, it's not about saving for a rainy day, but it's about preparation and being informed that what could happen. Even though it may not happen, it could happen.
It happened to me.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Pandemic, some people blew up, some people went down or whatever. And for me, certain things wasn't in place where a partnership had to dissolve. And when it dissolved, I went from having $15,000 a month coming in, and that was big money before inflation, to having a $300 check. I got like a $15,000 check in May, and it went down to $300, and all I had was credit. So that's why I do always going to put the credit in our Bulletproof, because you have to take care of it, because that's what carried me for 6 months.
Yeah.
So, it's just having that mindset of making sure but I was paying off stuff. I always made sure things was okay when I was okay. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people just like, okay, I got the money. Let me go buy the Louis bag. Let me go do this.
We saw a lot of that back then, didn't we?
Man.
And I then wanted to cut one of my bags the other day just to do a YouTube of why I would not pay $4,500 for a purse anymore, and why I would take that you got the money. Or I'll take the $4,500 and split it down and do different things until I make millions of dollars, multi-millions. Then I will invest in those bags. But until then, hand me a $900 Gucci purse, a $300, Tommy Hilfiger, or whatever that's hot, Dooney and Burke. At the end of the day, it don't really identify us. It's you. It's in you.
And going back, I don't mean to cut you off, but going back to that brokerage account. So, guys, I'm not going to tell you not to buy Gucci and not to buy Louis Vuitton. Whatever, you feel your style factor is, do what you can do. But if you have a brokerage account, at least take the, opportunity and responsibility to go buy some stock in those companies. And if you're buying stock in those companies, you don't feel like you bought something, you feel like that you're wearing your brand. So, you got to be smart. And that's a part of the, diversifying your money, growing your wealth, and actually being conscious of everything you're doing. I hate when people say, the rich people don't buy designer. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Lifestyle.
And sometimes that plain black T-shirt on.
That's just what I wanted to put on today. I want to step out. But
So let's not put that on, the African American community as if, that's what we spend our money on, because everybody spend their money on that.
Yeah.
But however, in our program, we're going to teach you how to own something.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important part of it all. And when you leave us, you're going to know definitely, hey, I went through the, Bulletproof Entrepreneur. And when I say right now, not only am I in the profit zone, but I own this, I have this, I know how to do this. And I think that's what's missing. And a lot of stuff that we see on social media every day, like we tell you that you can't get it and you can't get it, but nobody has a real plan.
What I like about that as well is I had a friend that asked me the other day, and this is why I brought you guys on the show, is because he was like, when you gonna start investing? And then in my head, I was like, I just ain't never really had enough free cash to start investing. But that's a mindset thing.
It
You
is.
see what I'm saying?
$200 to wherever we went to yesterday.
Charles Schwab.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could. I mean, it's $200. You don't have to go over there with 200,000 if you don't want to. I mean, it's a slower build, but when you put something towards it, it's going towards it. It's
Right.
going towards your future.
Yeah,
So.
go in Charles Schwab, go in Ameritrade, go in E-Trade, go in these places and talk to a broker or an investment banker and ask them, what are some of the things I can do? They are there for you to help you do that. If you got $100, open up the account. It's the intention.
Yeah.
It's the intention to build wealth that we don't have. We think like, oh, it's Charles Schwab. I need $100,000 to even go over there.
Yeah.
So don't let your mindset stop you from moving forward, because you could put $100 in there. Maybe you got some stocks that's $16 per share. How many stocks can you get in $100?
I'm really loving this too, because what I'm thinking is, I know we're not even near the end yet, but what's really important about what they're saying is, if you are watching this right now and you feel like you're having that mind block of like, how do I set all this stuff up? Because
Absolutely.
what I'm seeing in my head from learning from you guys is, by working with you guys, we're going to set up all of the buckets. Even if there's nothing in the bucket, we're going to set it up so that when you get $100, it's 10 goes here, 5 goes there, 7 goes there, 8 goes there. And then you just follow that mindset on repeat to where those buckets one time will start overflowing,
Absolutely.
So that's the goal.
And they will, because manifestation is real.
Yeah.
Right. Just 2 years ago when COVID was happening, and, I had a shift in my business. I had one of those rainy days, and we used to talk on the phone to 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And she used to say, hey, as long as we can get through to the next day, it'll be okay. And we say, you know what, 2 years from now, we're going to be doing something different. We're going to help a lot of entrepreneurs. And now we're here with the Bulletproof Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So if you guys it's the intention.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what other people say, or don't look at somebody who got a lot of money, because they got problems too.
Yeah.
Right? Things, what goes up, must come down.
Must
And it's
come down.
the mindset. And that stress to hold on you that you hold on to, you gotta let it go. And there's so many people, they want $1 million tomorrow. They don't even know how many numbers. That's $60 a day. Like, you got to know what you can make a day to even get to $1 million. And most people saying, I want to be a millionaire. But what do that look like to you?
Absolutely.
Maybe you have been a millionaire. All you need to know is what that number is. And that's why I got him. Like, he tell me, break it down in numbers. What you want to make a month?
Yeah.
You know, what's your number? My number right now, 888-6666, like, what is those numbers? And then all right, that's your calendar. You want to make $5,000 a week. This is what you do. And then you break it down and keep breaking it down until, what do you need to sell or offer service to make that money? And knowing that, you get there.
And by her saying that, breaking down the numbers is key, because when we think of 10,000, that just seems like a lot of money to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you say, well, how do I get to $10,000 a month? Well, if 10,000 is your goal, how much money do you need to be making per day, per week, to get to 10,000? See, when you break those numbers down, it's so much more simpler. So if I know I want to do 6 figures a year, I know I need to make about $300 a day. But what am I doing? I'm already making $100 a day at my job. So we need to add a couple of more streams into there to get you to that $300 so that you're making 6 figures. Mm-hmm. See, 6 figures earners don't make it's not like you making a lot of money. A lot of them just understand the concept. So, right now, you say I got a coaching business. My coaching business is doing 100,000. Then we got the tea business. Right now in our online sales, we already at $70-something thousand in 3 months. So now I take those numbers, I break those numbers down, and I know what my projections is going to be for the next 12 months. Now, we know the fiscal year ends October 21st, so you don't got no whole traditional year.
Yeah.
Our new year started October 22nd. Mm-hmm. So we already in 2025.
Gotcha.
So that's the mindset that we're trying to help, our entrepreneurs have, so that they can go out there and compete with those other people.
Right. And then another thing I'm just using, like, protecting your business once it's set up right. Because once you're set up the proper way, then you'll know not how to abuse the credit cards, but actually use them for the rewards that they can present. Because another thing,
he taught me that.
Because think about it this way. Look, y'all the experts, but this is just something that I had learned. Like, even using the Amex Gold for ads gives you 5 times the reward points. And then a lot of our businesses, especially digital business, that's our biggest expense in our business.
Exactly.
So those are the things that I know you guys will be breaking down to the students of how they could just
Let's
really
talk
reward
about these
themselves.
rewards. Let's talk about not just rewarding yourself, but let's talk about these rewards, especially with American Express. I think she got like 5 platinum cards for all 5 of her businesses. I only got 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but she, once she learned how to do it, she just, So she said, wait a minute, how you got all these rewards, but I don't have none?
Yeah.
I said, oh, you must think that your American Express is a savings account. And she said, what you mean? I said,
she wasn't touching them at all.
She didn't understand that you spend a lot of money to bring those rewards in fast. So when I first got my platinum card, I did $75,000 in 1 month. So I bought things, I did this, I invested, and guess what? I took all the cash I was already going to spend and just take it out the account and paid it.
Yeah, the checking account now, when you become a Bulletproof Entrepreneur, becomes the safe harbor.
Absolutely.
It's not the daily debit card adding all that.
No. You want to put everything on that American Express, all your bills, because once the points come in for flights and different stuff like that, you start realizing that American Express is your friend and it's not your creditor.
Right.
Because they cater to their members. And you want to, hold your membership. So how you do it, you spend the money. Remember, we're not saving money. We're spending money to make more money.
Got you.
So if you want those reward points, you have to spend the money to get those points. But guess what? Every time I go to a hotel, I just send them points.
Yep. And for the people who, for the naysayers, just so they can understand that part too, when you say you're not saving, right?
No.
Let's talk to our people who think that we're not being responsible. Like when you say we're not saving, because I don't want someone to say like, well, I don't want to join that. They don't, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, they still got to pay their bills.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Remember, it's not your money. But if you were paying your bills anyways, if I'm going to say, hey, Tony, can I have $100 to pay my light bill? Why not pay it on American Express and then pay the money that you send me over?
Right.
Because I'm asking for $40.
Right. And then you get the points and the rewards. Right.
Yeah. So if I'm going to get the money that way, instead of cash apping it to pay the light bill,
right?
Boom, pay it with the American Express, and then pay it off that way.
Might as well reward yourself.
The reason we teach this and with our entrepreneurs, because the debit card, I call it the devil, because it zaps so much money from your account, and once you keep swiping it, you don't really track it.
You don't.
And then they're taking money out your account that you don't know about.
You add it in on every online subscription, and this shit, you don't even see what's going on.
So with the credit card, it's a little bit different because we are way more conscious when we understand credit, right?
Mhm.
So we know that, okay, it takes me $4,000 a month to live. That $4,000 is going on that American Express, or it's going on one, or my Chase Ink card. It's going on something to where I'm gaining points. So remember, we want reciprocity. What we put out, we want stuff to come back. So if you start practicing that, you start learning, like, wait a minute, I sent that, but these people sent all this stuff back, and I'm using this to pay off other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I pay my rent off of the American Express.
Yeah.
$2,500 in Houston, $2,000 in Dayton, Ohio, and they might charge me an extra $40, but to get those rewards, it's all worth it, because I think people be afraid of the interest too. They be like, oh, well, it's gonna charge me interest. Everything got interest on it, whether it's imaginary or not. So if you're gonna get the rewards on the other side, just go ahead and pay the $20.50 or the $25.50. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And remember, you want to build a relationship with those big banks. You know, once your spending limit's at $5,000 with your first platinum card, once you spend $75,000, it's one click of a button, and I request a spending limit, and they say you can go spend $100,000 right now.
Yeah.
So while you're taking $10,000 down on a down payment for a car, I can literally take my platinum card and pay the whole $100,000 car off right now.
That's what I had to learn from him. That right there, I had to learn it because one of my American Express, I had this unlimited thing, and then I guess I wasn't spending enough. They said, well, you know what, we're gonna cap her off at $7,500.
And they keep dropping you.
They do. And then now you like, dang, now it's not even really like a platinum. Because I've seen that happen before, where they're like, here's your limit now.
And you know what I mean? and guys, we don't want to act like we're perfect.
Yeah.
Even though Tony keep using the name as experts, we don't really look at ourselves as experts. But what we do look at is that we have went through the fire for you. So we understand things that can happen, will happen if things aren't in place. So that's what we teach our people.
Yeah.
Like even with the credit repair, even if you ain't ready to be an entrepreneur, and you say, hey, T. Anthony or Mila, we want y'all to fix our credit. We're going to educate you on just your job and your credit money.
Yeah. I got a question. Let's talk about the upside. The upside of once you go through, y'all's curriculum with becoming bulletproof. You got all your buckets in line, from check-in to personal to business. Now you're just a fat cat. You're like, I'm safe, right? What do you do at that point? Because now you have all these lines of credit. You've got your personal credit score is high. You've got money in your checking account. I mean, technically, do you just coast with peace, or is the next thing how do we invest? Like, what happens next?
The next thing is, how do we invest and how do we scale? Yeah, it's only because you got to go to it's a new level every time. Right. So if you I guess quote unquote master that part, what's next? Well, now it's time to learn how to invest, how to diversify, how to grow your money, and how to scale that business. Or if we opening up another business. Or are we going to sell that business? They're going to give us $5 million for this business. Or are we selling it? What does that type of stuff look like? And now those are the conversations no one has.
No one has those, right?
Like they'll say, go buy a house. But I always tell people, don't go and buy no house. That's
why? That's a touchy subject.
Well, I feel like if you got a family and you're going to live in that house, it's okay to buy the house if that's what you want to do. But a person like me that's single with no family, what am I buying a house for? I don't even want to stay in a suburb. It made me cringe, right? I'm a high rise or a high end apartment type of guy, right? So, but I still, even though I'm not a real estate professional, I still want that real estate portfolio to where I own this, where like she got a lot of houses. She teaches me, more the real estate part. But I still want that portfolio and to be in that part of the money, even though I'm not in it. But I don't need to buy a house because I'm not going to stay in that house for 30 years. Yeah. I'm not going to be anybody's landlord.
You'd rather buy the house to rent than where you sleep.
Yeah, I'd rather buy a 90-unit apartment building. Yeah. I want residual income. So I'm not looking to buy and flip houses. That's old school way of making money. And I'm not saying you can't make no money in that, but that's not for me. So the average person, I wouldn't suggest you just go and buy a house because it's liabilities. You got to have insurance. You got to make sure this house has this. You got to pay the property taxes. It's a lot of requirements to have in a house versus if you building a business, you need to be somewhere renting and you need to be having your exit plans on where you're going next. Because if your business is like ours, right now we in Ohio, we in Atlanta and Houston because we got the stuff going on in all three cities. And we do have places in all three cities, but we rent those. And when we done with them, we let the Airbnb people stay in them while we gone. And when we come back, we got somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
So your property should be making you money. You shouldn't be spending money for a property.
And it's all about the planning, like he said. If you're, a lot of times our grandparents and stuff, and we would talk to my grandmother about it, where they just wanted to own something, and sometimes they instilled that into us. My grandmother said the other day and told me, I don't really know what my attachment is. I guess I came up in a time where I just wanted to own something, and I'm like, you 80-some years old, just get whatever money out of it and come and be with me and enjoy the rest of your, your glory years. And that's taught down to the rest of us. I just have to own, but have a plan. Like, okay, you're going to own it, and what? Are you going to put your studio in it? Or is it going to, because the other people, they're making money. Like, Rick Ross got the promised land, but he's making money off of that. So yeah, that cool to have his house. He realized that's just really too big for me.
Yeah.
So, if you don't have if it's not make an asset, what for? Yeah, it's mine. But then when it's time to let it go, or when the prices go up or down and all this other stuff, it's hard for people to even let go of. You're like, you're losing your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to have a plan if you're going to get your credit fixed. And then what? If that's income ratio, you paying your bills, you might as well make some investments before you make that investment.
Got you.
We don't believe in retirement. We believe in happiness.
Let's talk about that too, because that's a good thing as well. I was talking to Pops about, retirement and stuff like that. How do you guys see retirement as an entrepreneur versus retirement as like what we've been taught or what we're used to seeing, 401k?
I see retirement as a bad reward.
Mm.
And I don't want I don't want anybody to take that wrong. Let me explain why I say that. Because in our generation, they say you need $2.3 million to retire. And let's be honest, 95% of the people who retire in our generation, they will not have
$2.3
million, and they won't have Social Security because it'll be gone by the time it's time for us. So what's the happiness in retirement? I think that, we should have an abundance of money by the time. You should only have to work 15 to 20 years of your life, and the rest of the life you should be doing other things, helping other people, growing your family, building your legacy, no stress. Happiness. We believe in happiness.
Yeah, becoming a family liaison, maybe.
Yeah.
That's where I'm looking at, to hand over to my kids and then assist them.
Mm-hmm. That's what you're saying.
And give them a real plan. I'm not going to hand my business over to kids and other family members. What I will do is I will, help them put a plan in place. So if I'm long gone and the money do come to you, now you got a real plan on what to do and how to grow our family legacy. See, a lot of people, they call themselves trust fund babies, or they got an inheritance. That's not nothing to be proud of, because most of those people ruin the family legacy.
They do.
By the second generation, one or two generations. Mm-hmm. So we don't believe in retirement. We don't believe in just leaving money to people. We believe in having a hardcore plan so that even when you're gone and they're not talking about you anymore, those people are still teaching those people. And how do you do that? You write that down.
They need the infrastructure.
And you need those instructions, and they got the education.
Got you.
So I don't even believe in college degrees. I mean, it's great if you're a doctor or you're an attorney where you need a degree, but why are you getting a degree?
$120,000 for a whole 4 years
to do nothing.
Yeah.
And then when you get out there, only paying you $30,000 a year. So you got to use the skills that God gave you, and they're going to make a way for you.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they make a way for you? Because guess what? You're operating in where your strengths are, and you're not operating in those weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's easy for somebody to tell you what to do, but it's harder for you to go out there and use your gifts and go ahead and build your family's legacy. So we don't believe in retirement. We believe in happiness.
And don't let nobody pay you to forget your dream.
That's a good one right there.
That's that mindset stuff.
That was kind of literally right. I was just about to transition and just say, like, as we conclude, what would you tell the person that's watching this that needs that? Like, what would you tell them to get over that limiting belief to just start? Like, what's some lasting words you guys would say?
I would tell them the sky is the universe is the limit. It lives inside of you, and just get going. Quit overthinking it. Quit getting all this education over education, and get going.
Got you.
Fail your way up.
Fail your way up.
I would say that with whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in, that they want you to live a life of abundance. I want you to stop looking at the people on social media, looking at the people on TV and thinking that's for those people. It's for you too. And so when you have the intention and you start to put the work in front of the intention, you will yield some type of result. You may not make $1 million your first 5 years, but what if you make 999,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you got to look at stuff. I'm not comparing myself to her. If she made more money than me this year, I'm fine with that. That's my partner. I'm cheering her on.
Right.
I'm giving her flowers. I'm not looking at her and say, dang, she didn't give me a little bit more so I could meet her in the middle.
Right.
So I would tell people, if you have an idea, you have the spirit of entrepreneurship, and you say, hey, how do I get started? You want to get started with the Bulletproof Entrepreneurs. We're going to help take you from leaving and having an exit plan for that job to going to start and building your families with legacy and wealth.
So my last question is, I've seen the curriculum. I love it. Tell the audience right here exactly like what they're going to get in the program and what they should expect to see when they leave the program.
First, you're going to be with Mila with the mindset training.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that your mindset is even ready to do what we're going to have you to do. And that means that you're ditching distractions. That means that you're not letting life obstacles stop you. That means that even though you don't have the money, you have a secure plan on how to get the money, and you're willing to be coachable, right? We're going to make sure that your personal credit and your business credit and your business is structured properly. That means we're not just going to send you out there and say, go get a trust, and don't give you some type of, mapping or game plan on what to do. You're going to know everything you need to do as you move forward in the program. You're going to get the right coaching. You're going to get coaching like coaching you never got before, right? And also, guess what? You're going to be able to help other people do the same thing.
I love that.
Right? So we want people to say, once they finish our program and say, man, I went through the Bulletproof Entrepreneur. And when I say, I got into the profit zone in my first 12 months, I was, able to, build out my brokerage account. I was able to, understand why to use these credit cards and why not to do this. Don't get 100 personal credit cards in your name. Let's do business. Right. And, also know that, I have a sister that's a great speaker, but she don't know how to get started. Well, now you're equipped with the same knowledge that we gave you to go out there and help your family and other people too.
That's awesome.
All about value. You will not leave us without value. We will not send you to a dead end. We want to make sure that, when we do leave you, because we will not be with you for the rest of your life.
Right.
That you are prepared and you can go out there and you can compete with the rest of the people in the world.
That's dope. That's dope.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have all the links down below. So if you are feeling like you're somebody who maybe already is an established business owner, maybe you're just getting started, but you don't feel like you're structured properly for a rainy day, for an emergency, this is for you. I want you to look down below and click the link so that you can get started on building your path to being a bulletproof entrepreneur so that you can take care of your family, take care of your business. Because the thing that we don't want you to do is become a statistic. We don't want you to get into the group of people that failed in the first year or the second year. We want to make sure that when something happens, you're proactive and not reactive. And you're like, oh, it's nothing. I've already got that taken care of because my personal credit was in line so that I had the business funding, which opened up the credit lines and everything for me. So no matter what happens, you're always taken care of. So I want to thank our awesome guests for coming to the show tonight. Make sure you guys click the link below and let them know your social media so they can follow you.
So my social media, I won't change it no more, guys. But my social media is the Brand Boss on Brand Boss ATL, the Brand Boss ATL on Instagram, and then you can find me on Facebook at T Anthony Money. Big boy problems.
Hey.
Mine is My Love on Instagram. That's my personal. And then my business one is City Span Solutions. And on Facebook, it is MI Hall. So
Nice.
that's mine.
And you guys have been heard it. That's another episode of the Tuned In with Tony podcast, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.